I'm Jeff Matlow. Welcome to the best leadership podcast ever. Welcome back to the best leadership podcast ever, where every week we rethink your daily habits to help catapult your career. My name is Jeff Matlow. I coach executives and growth stage entrepreneurs and help teams be more productive. And that's what I do. And gosh darn it, I love it. But enough about me, because I want to talk about storytelling. In fact, I first want to talk about this dude named John Green Chandler. You probably have never heard of John Green Chandler. I mean, he doesn't even have a Wikipedia page. Who are you if you don't have a Wikipedia page? Am I right? So John was an artist, a woodcarver, and a lithographer back in the 1800s. It's safe to say he wasn't a leader in any of his trades. In fact, during his peak years, he was mostly known for making paper dolls. He was that guy. I can imagine the conversation down at the local pub there in the 1800s as the fellas listened to Chandler boast about how the new lithography project he got was the one that would turn things around for him and the missus. "Sure it will, Johnny boy," someone would say. "Sure it will. Maybe just don't quit your paper doll job quite yet." And there'd probably be hearty laughs and heartier swigs of ale, because that's what happened back there in the 1800s. I'd imagine. My time machine is broken. Needless to say, all of John Green Chandler's work has been all but forgotten. That is all but one piece. To my knowledge, John Chandler published only one book in his entire life, but it's still talked about to this day. It was called The Remarkable History of Chicken Little. The book really didn't make many waves back then, but the fable, as I'm sure you know, has been passed down through the generations and gained in worldwide popularity and is up there with the standard children fables like The Tortoise and the Hare and The Boy Who Cried Wolf, and my personal favorite here at home, The Daughter Who Wouldn't Stop Singing one line of a song over and over again until her parents went bonkerballs. In case you don't know the story, Chicken Little goes something like this. The little chicken is hanging out in the forest when he gets hit in the head by a falling acorn. Being the alarmist that he is, Chicken Little takes it as a precursor that the sky is falling. So naturally, he goes to warn the king. On the way to the king, the chicken meets many different feathered friends and convinces each of them that the sky is falling and that he has proof. So he successfully alarms others, and they all waddle their way to warn the king. They eventually come across a fox who pretends to be alarmed and promises to get them a meeting with the king. However, the birds are instead lured into the fox's den where, in a horrendously brutal turn of events, he eats them all. That's the story. You see, storytelling is an essential part of being human. People are drawn to stories to help make them make sense of the world. Stories are essential in explaining information, in creating emotional connections, and transferring information across generations. That's how humanity survived. Of the many insightful things said by Steve Jobs, he had a really great insight into storytelling and leadership. He said, "The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation that's to come." That's the healthy part of storytelling and leadership. But that's not the part I'm going to talk about today. Remember, Chicken Little was eaten alive in the end. And if you haven't figured it out yet, this episode is not about the good part of storytelling. Yeah, storytelling is about relaying information, but when information is missing, that's when the stories get sucked down this abyss of despair, and that's when things get a wee bit wonky. In the absence of data, we tend to make up our own stories. Let me repeat that in case you missed it. In the absence of data, we will make up our own stories. And when you're in the workplace, this can turn pretty toxic. Catastrophizing is when you believe you're in a worse situation than you actually are. It's one of the most unhealthy types of storytelling at work, whether you're a leader or not. When running late for a meeting causes you to stress that you're going to be fired and won't get a new job and will die sad and lonely with a bad bowl cut, that's catastrophizing. When you encounter a minor setback at work and feel the entire project is going to collapse like a Jenga tower, that's catastrophizing too. Because of our seemingly innate tendency towards storytelling, our emotions can extrapolate a saga of this self-destruction when our story starts with only a little piece of information. Do you ever catastrophize? If not, I'm sure you know at least one person who does. See, sometimes we tell stories to ourselves that we want to believe but can't quite prove true. So we construct our chronicle from a lack of information and then search for evidence to prove it correct. I was coaching an executive recently who would tell me about the evil head of marketing. I'd ask why the person was evil, but would rarely get a clear answer from them. Yet every time we got on a call, I'd been given more proof to justify the evilness of the marketing lead. I heard she yelled at her staff member and made them cry, I was told. She deliberately held information from me when she should have told me, they'd say. Now this is hearsay. It's unproven. Like, these are just made-up stories. And these type of stories happen all the time at companies, oftentimes without us recognizing it. And they're as unhealthy as eating a raw chunk of Chicken Little. I come across many leaders who do this. They pass judgment on others and search for evidence to justify their claims. Successful leadership, though, is about understanding the difference between healthy storytelling and toxic. The most successful leaders I've worked with are the ones who dig into their inner ugly and explore the reasons why they're telling these stories to themselves. When you're constructing stories that lead to despair, it's crucial to ask yourself why the story matters. Then keep peeling back the layers of why until you reach the core truth. Why do you have that impression of the marketing leader? Why does that impression bother you? Why are you threatened by that feeling? I teach the 5 whys to my coaching and consultant clients, and I'll tell you, there is always a surprising and immediate breakthrough every single time we go through it. Now, their attitude and behavior won't change overnight from toxic storytelling to positivity and growth, but it's a start. And for you, just remember, when you get into the cycle of catastrophizing, the sky isn't falling. It's just a darn acorn. If you like this, please give it 5 stars, leave a review. It means a lot. If any of it resonates with you, you want to talk about how to get out of the circle of catastrophizing, you could reach me at bytitleonly.com. Thanks for listening. I appreciate you. Subscribe so you don't miss an episode, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye.